Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast and Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. We are here to talk about weekend 3 of Countdown to Christmas. It's unbelievable. We're already 3 weekends in. And we already talked about the Hallmark movies mysteries, we already talked about the Hallmark mysteries, Season of Miracles movie on a previous episode with La Savoy, the My Sweet Australian Holiday. So if you want to see our thoughts on that, you should check out over there. So today we're just talking about Countdown to Christmas movies, and we're talking about the 3 of them. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Thaddeus is here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. How are you doing? Are you enjoying Christmas in November?
Uh, I am, and I feel like for the most part, I've enjoyed most of the movies this year. I feel
Uh-huh.
like they're off to a stronger start this year than last year.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there really hasn't been anything like I've hated.
Hmm.
Nothing horrible. Some stronger than others, but
Hmm.
yeah, pretty good slate so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
We have our first movie is called Our Holiday Story.
Hmm.
And this is a couple recounts their Christmas love story to their daughter's boyfriend. Director Jason Bork, writer Joa Boken, stars Warren Christie and Nikki DeLoach. And yeah, what did you think overall of this one?
So I enjoyed it. I liked kind of like they're retelling their story and kind of tying it in with the younger couple's story and trying to learn from them. I definitely really like Warren Christie and Nikki DeLoach. I've always enjoyed them in every movie that they've been in. Even if I haven't necessarily always like the movie, I've always enjoyed their performances, and they always kind of will elevate anything that they're in. And so, this was a pretty good entry. I would definitely watch it again.
Yeah. Well, it was nice too because you had their love story kind of going on, but then you also had the younger couple's love story, the daughter and her boyfriend, who when I first read that summary, I was like, that's weird. Why are they telling this to her boyfriend? What's going on? But it made sense within the script.
Yes. And I did enjoy them trying to make the daughter look like she was a teenager in those flashbacks.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
It was pretty decent. It was pretty decent, but the whole idea is this kind of like a serendipity kind of a thing. Like they
Yes.
keep
Hmm.
meeting, and then phones are broken and dropped in the water, and all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Yes. And so, which is like a little silly, but I went with it
Yeah,
and
I did
kind of
too.
realized, that you wanted to wait for them to figure out who they were because, like they were really and it's kind of like the opposite of like you got mail shop around the corner type of story in that in real life they were connecting and having chemistry, but then in like when they were over the phone and email, they were like fighting and at odds, which
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
the opposite
You
from
kind of
the
had that element, yeah, which is just like a romantic element. The idea of
Yeah.
falling in love over your words,
Yes.
and you don't like each other in real life.
Yeah. And so this
Uh,
was the opposite of that because they
yeah.
like each other in real life, but they
In
did
one
not.
setting, but then
Yeah.
the other setting, in the work
Right.
setting, they don't like each other. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
you're right.
So, so which is, but I like that. It's kind,
Yeah.
I always like a little bit of like almost like a trope subversion type of thing with
Mm,
in this movie. Um,
yeah.
so which was why I was willing to kind of go along with the contrivance, so to speak.
Hmm. Yeah, and it felt like believable enough. Although
Mhm.
the one thing I will say about this movie is that nobody likes fruitcake that much.
Yeah.
Nobody likes fruitcake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, actually, I remember when I was growing up, my mother and my aunt would like had like a running joke where they would like re-gift each other the same fruitcake every year. It went on for a few years. I think it
That's
was my
funny.
that started it, and then my mother gave it to her the next year, and then they switched back. They went back and forth with it. It was like a running joke between them.
I tried fruitcake last year. I tried it on our TikTok.
Mhm.
I was not a fan.
Mm.
I did not like it. And I think that you have to, if I think people that drink a little bit more alcohol, I drink no alcohol, but
Mhm.
it has that kind of bitter taste
Mhm.
to it that, and
Mm.
a lot of them times they're literally soaked in alcohol.
Mhm.
And so I think you have to kind of have a taste for that. And
Mm.
also you have to like dried fruit, which I'm also not like a huge fan of.
Yeah, I've had it once when I was a kid, and I didn't like it. I never tried it again. So
Well, it's expensive too. I mean, I it was expensive last year when I was trying it.
yes,
It's a
and
lot.
so yeah, so yeah, I couldn't imagine someone be like, let's get off this train so that we can get this fruit.
The love of my life is here, but I'm going to leave because I have to get this fruitcake from this
Yeah,
train
yes. Oh my God,
depot.
that
I mean,
was
it
so.
has name recognition. It was like free, what is it, Frida's or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, I think it was Frida's.
Fritos, yeah.
Okay.
That was really funny, and they just
Mhm.
kept bringing that up, and you have the boyfriend's there, and he brings a fruit cake. She's like, she told
Yes.
me I should bring a fruit cake,
Yeah.
and the daughter said, don't ask them about how they met.
Or at least, but it gets cut off
Gets
before
cut
he
off.
there.
So
So he
this
does
is
ask them. Yeah.
yeah. So this is their big thing they love talking about.
Hmm. Yes.
And I do think that a lot that is like a thing that
Mhm.
couples love telling their stories.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, how they met and stuff. I know my parents do
Mm.
because my dad was the mission companion of my uncle Mark, my mom's brother's
Oh.
best friend.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
how they met. And
Okay.
yeah, I guess and my dad's very tall,
Hmm.
and she was feeling somewhat cynical, and she said this guy Charlie said, well, what kind of guy are you looking for?
Hmm.
And my mom said, well, tall, dark, and handsome. And he's like, I got just a guy for you.
Okay. That's funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
So but so yeah, they meet on the train and have their meet cute, and that was fun. Nice meet
mhm.
cute. I thought they had pretty good chemistry, Nikki
Yes, they
and
did.
Warren.
They did. Hmm.
Hmm. And then we have the couple they met at work, I think, the Chris and Joanna.
Yes. I think he had like gone into the wrong office or something, and she kind of helped him when he like made a
Mm,
fool of himself. And so then, and then it kind of went from there. And I think at that point, they'd been together for 3 or 4 months. Um, and, they were kind of like in that transition period of like becoming like a serious,
yeah,
relationship, but
right.
had not exchanged I love yous.
Mm.
And
And I
that
think this trip was like a big trip for them.
Yes, yes, it
Yeah,
was a very big deal. He was meeting the parents,
yeah.
and he wanted to say, "I love you" for the first time.
And they have ugly sweater convention.
Yes. Oh yes. So she is, and I think so when you go into the flashback, the Warren Christie and Nikki DeLoach are meeting at the inaugural Ugly Sweater convention, and then so I think this is the 10th annual when the daughter is on the train, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
yeah, and she's not that into Christmas. She's a
no,
little bit of a Grinch.
yeah, and I think it seems to, and I think I
Nikki
like
is.
the kind of character motivation for her. So it comes out that she kind of grew up in kind of like a financially insecure situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's part of, what not really being able to afford gifts and things like that for Christmas. And it also plays into the conflict between them, which is she comes in as comptroller for the new comptroller for the town, and he's planning the Christmas festival, and she is, very tight with the budget. And we see that it's because of her background of, being, financially insecure. And so wanting to really conserve money and be very frugal.
Yeah, so she's the comptroller. She says that this is a fourth, the Christmas is a fourth of the town budget. So she's really concerned about that. And she just thinks it's a waste of resources.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she needs to be visited by three spirits, I think.
Yes.
So you have Lisa DeRue in this, and
Yeah.
she's been in so many movies with Nikki.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun
Yeah.
to see
Yes, I
that.
always love to see her pop up, and it seems like she's usually either with Nikki or with Allison Sweeney. So,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah.
It's true.
But yeah, and so she plays
His
the
ex.
ex-wife,
Yeah.
and so the mother of the younger younger girlfriend.
Yeah. And that was nice. It's
Mhm.
always nice when they have like normal relationships with
Mhm.
exes, and
Yeah.
that's normalized in Hallmark.
Yeah, it seems like they're pretty good friends at this point.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it seems that Nikki's character and Lisa Drew's character are also pretty friendly
Mhm.
and get along quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, especially if you have kids, you just have to find a way to make
Yeah.
it work
Yeah.
and respect each other, and if at all possible. Yeah, but I would think it would probably be hard at first, but then maybe after a little space, you could break that
Yeah.
friendship.
Yeah.
Could be.
And it does seem like they had been apart for some time, and
Yeah.
so they were okay.
Well, and especially if you're now with other people,
Yes.
that would also help, I think.
Yeah.
A lot. And so you have Sydney Scotia playing Joanna, the daughter, and I did get a chance to interview her, so we'll be posting that. And she is really fun. I liked her. I think if they're looking for young talent, I think she could be somebody they could use.
Yeah. And I liked the boyfriend too.
Yeah, he was good too.
Yeah.
I liked them. They weren't together very much, so you weren't able to really tell the chemistry, but it was. I asked her about that. I was just almost more important that she had chemistry with Warren as your dad.
Yeah,
she's with him the most, probably.
Yes.
So that was interesting. We have this whole scene where they meet on the second meeting is on the street. She meets and then spills coffee.
Yeah.
And then she has to move her car, and then he's gone.
You're right. Right. I think he leaves to
he spills the coffee.
Oh, spilling the coffee. So and then while he's gone, the police officer comes and says that she has to move her car. And so she does, and that's before they can exchange numbers, even though they've already spoken to each other, but they don't know it yet.
I liked him. I think it was Lisa DeRue who said, "Why do you always catastrophize?" That was good. I like that. Yeah. And then we get next scene. She gives him her number.
Right.
And he's trying to remember it.
Yes.
Because
he's passing by and everybody's saying different numbers as he's like walking down the street.
And her phone gets ruined.
Yes. Yes. So she has to get a new phone.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't have the same number.
And I guess these people are old enough that they wouldn't be on like social media and stuff,
Right.
probably as much.
And it's been, 10 years ago, that would have been 2014. Yeah. So,
yeah.
That's kind of like on that bubble.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that like none of my nieces, I have 5 nieces, and none of them are that into social media. None of them do it that much. And I've noticed that with it seems like my friends' daughters and stuff. I feel like my generation, like late millennials to young Gen Z, I think that like we are into it the most almost.
Probably. I mean,
we're the most kind of hooked on it. But I don't see it that much with like younger teens and young adults that much. So he really dislikes the comptroller.
Yes.
Because she hates Christmas and it's just not going well.
Yeah. And so she finds out first that that he is planning the party, and but she doesn't tell him right away.
Yeah.
And during this whole time, what was the
it's at the ugly sweater party, isn't that where she finds out? And her daughter has put her it's her that's on the
his daughter is
his daughter. It's their
becomes her stepdaughter.
No, so it's his
his daughter is the one that puts on the what was that called, the fine
what is it called? I have it written down. His daughter is the one, and so it's his daughter who's messaging back.
Yes.
Yeah, the app. So his daughter puts him on a app, and she's responding, and she's on there as Nell on there, right?
Yes.
So that's why they don't know.
It's her first name. Her real name is Eleanor,
right?
And what is it, Dave or David? So Nell and Dave like each other, but Eleanor and David do not.
Right.
Yes.
Let's see. I thought I had written down the name of that. It was a pretty good app name, as I recall. It was pretty good. But then we have Joanna and Chris. They still haven't said love you. Joanna ends up getting a ride on the fruitcake truck.
Yes.
That was funny. Like I said, this movie loves fruitcake.
Yes.
It's their favorite. And then so he's like working on this chair, and then she gets upset when she realizes, and she bolts. It's like, what's going on? And then says, you and I actually hate each other. So then you have a cute scene where Joanna and Chris are decorating I think it's houses. Anyway, she sprays them with the frosting, which was cute. Yeah. It's like a flirty moment, I thought. He tells her that the comptroller is thoroughly unlikable.
Yes. Yes. And so and she was about to tell him who she really was, but then, of course that causes her to back out of it.
And she says, well, the festival is one giant fire hazard and you're way over budget. Yeah. Does she, I mean, do you think it helps? It's Nikki DeLoach.
Yeah.
So she can't really be that unlikable.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I did like that they actually gave her motivation for being. Yeah. So I think it's easier to sympathize with her. Plus, it can't help. It can't hurt that you have Nikki DeLoach playing the character. So,
and I think it's flipping back and forth too. And you see him telling this love story, so obviously it turned out well. Right. And he says that I like you too. I like you a lot. That was cute.
And you can see how much he loves Christmas. In the future.
Now,
future. So
that's true.
She eventually sees the error of her ways. So,
So Joanna asks her, "How do you know when you know?" And then he says, I miss her. You miss her." And I think it's Chris who says, "I want that in my life."
Mm-hmm.
And then he shows up and he says, "I don't think you're unlikable. You're my fate." Which is cute. And then we get Joanna and Chris saying, "I love you" at the end.
Yes.
So
And,
it was a fun little movie. I mean, I feel like this was like a base hit. It was like standard classic. It didn't reinvent the wheel, but it was pleasant. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And like I said, a little trope subversion. So so yeah, I would give it 3.5 crowns.
Yeah, same. That's why I give it to. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the good folks at Harper Road Press and Lindsay Gibson and her new book, The Christmas Coin. Professional ballet dancer Amelia Collins is blindsided when an accident causes a career-ending injury. With no other options but to start over, she leaves city life behind to remodel a country home in the quaint village of Whitebridge, Connecticut. Running on nothing but hope, she moves in only weeks before Christmas. Then she discovers an old European coin with a story while loading some boxes into her attic. A story that might upend everything, especially when single dad Benjamin Walsh finds out about it, and when she learns he's in charge of her remodel. She isn't quite sure how the holiday will go. You can find out more about The Christmas Coin and all the great books from Harper's Road at harpersroad.com. You can purchase The Christmas Coin wherever you do your holiday book shopping, or you can use the affiliate link below. That's The Christmas Coin by Lindsay Gibson. We know you'll love it. Okay. Then we have A Carol for Two. So this one is a talented singer starts working at a Broadway restaurant with singing waiters. And this is director Jeff Beasley, writer Nina Wyman, and it's Gina Claire Mason and Jordan Litz and Charlotte Dembrose, all Broadway veterans. And I know that Nina is like a big Broadway fan, so it must have been so much fun for her to write this. And this was really kind of a dream movie for me. I mean, I've been wanting them to make like, and I've always said, like, why not make a Hallmark musical? Because you've got all these public domain Christmas carols that you could use. And that's basically what they did here. Almost every song was a public domain Christmas carol, I would assume, or wouldn't be that expensive, I wouldn't think.
Yeah. No, I mean, not like your standard musical, but a lot of music in it.
And it had a lot of songs.
And so I'm going to go out on a venture and guess that you really enjoyed this.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that the story was like amazing, but like the music was so much fun, and I liked the leads, and I mean I think the whole Cyrano kind of concept and the cousin Brad was a little grating, was a little much. But like, I didn't really care that much because I was just enjoying it. I was enjoying the actors and the singing and all that stuff.
So I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
And the Cyrano, I mean, it was fine. And I liked that they added the scene of the cousin with his ex to kind of make him a little less cartoony and a little more sympathetic, even though that was interesting. And, you know, I think I would have liked it a little better if it had been like a little bit of like a quad, and like that neighbor Rose, like maybe she had like a thing for the cousin, and
I would like that too.
So I would have liked that, but I do like that they kind of play out like the beats, and it kind of made sense. Like, you know, we have that, you know, the hero meets the heroine, and he immediately dislikes her because of like, he resents like, you know, the nepotism that since she knows the, you know, the owner of the restaurant or whatever. And so she gets, you know, to sing right away and whatever. And then you see him like, you know, get to know her, and it's like, oh, she's real, she's talented. You know, develop some sympathy for her, and then all this time, like, he didn't like her when he started setting him up with her cousin. setting her up with his cousin, and then he starts to develop feelings for her, and it's like, ugh, what do I do
Well,
now?
I mean, it was like a little bit different from the typical Cyrano, because the
Hmm.
whole idea behind the Cyrano thing is that you have the guy that's really insecure
Hmm.
and so is feeding but is good with the
Hmm.
dialogue and the letters and things like
Yes.
that to the handsome man.
Hmm.
In this case, you have like the nerdy guy who's the lead, right?
Hmm.
And and then it's the handsome guy who's kind of in the background,
Yes.
which is like the opposite of what it normally is.
Yes.
And he is so handsome. I mean, I thought Jordan Litz, oh my gosh, I thought he was
Okay.
really. I'm like, welcome to Hallmark. I mean, he looked a lot like Sam Page to me.
Yeah, actually, do you know what? That was funny. The first time I saw a poster, I thought it was Sam Page.
Yeah, you really
So,
did look a lot like Sam Page, except
mhm.
for singing. I'm like, wow.
Great voice.
Yeah, great voice. I thought he was very dreamy in this.
I really enjoyed both of them in this
Yeah.
movie, and I liked their chemistry. Um, and I kind of sympathized with her character. Like, she had, like, she'd always wanted to go to New York and become a Broadway star, but she had to kind of put that on the back burner when after her mother passed away, her father got sick, and so then she finally got a part in I think it was Chicago. Was it Chicago or some musical? So and then
Oh yeah.
when she goes, she finds out that the production was canceled, and and so she is like, she had this whole town that was behind her, whole little town in Utah, if I'm not mistaken, behind her, and
Mhm.
she's like ashamed of the fact that it's not happening, so she's trying to make something happen,
Yeah.
so that people can actually come out and see her in something. Um,
Yeah, that was a fun little needle drop when they were like, "Oh, going back to Ogden, it won't be that bad." I'm like, "Oh, it's right by."
is that near you?
It's like about 45 minutes up
Person.
from me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's Ogden. It's above Salt Lake.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm below Salt Lake.
Yeah, I've never been
So
to Utah before. My father
yeah,
has, but I've never
you should come. We could have a we could have a fun. We'd have fun. We'd have a
been. Yeah.
blast. But yeah, so she gets this job, and I think that any creative will be able to relate to this. Everything you think it's all lined up, it's all, it's going to be great, and then it just all falls apart, and sometimes
Yeah.
quite quickly, and
Hmm.
that's so frustrating.
Hmm.
So frustrating. And so that I felt for her there.
Yeah.
And there's the singing contest at this club that
Hmm.
she's at, and she gets the job, and she like I said, there were a ton of songs in this.
Yeah.
Starts with Deck the Halls, it's the
Yeah.
first song, and then she does Oh Holy Night, which normally I hate in these movies. I love the
Well,
song, but it's
you usually,
it's really hard.
they have people singing it that aren't the strongest singers.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And you
and
have to
so
be a Broadway professional like Gina is to pull it
yeah,
off, and she
yeah,
does.
yeah. And I mean, I'm usually used to like a bigger voice singing that song, but she but
Hmm.
she did it.
Yeah,
She
she
did a
did.
really good
She
job.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
great. And then they do Gloria, and then you get a little bit of his song, Who Knew It
Hmm.
Would Be You.
Yeah.
What do you think of that original song?
Yeah. And then I liked it. And they also did the Christmas song
Yes, that's coming up. Yeah, the
that they did
Christmas
sing.
song.
Yeah, that they did at the when they visited the like former Broadway people that were at like the senior
Hmm.
community for like former. Yeah.
Yeah, they go to this senior center, and they sing Jolly Old St. Nicholas at one point, the Christmas song, Go Tell
Hmm.
It on the Mountain.
Hmm.
Uh, there was a lot of singing
Yes,
in this movie.
and it was good.
It was
And so
good. It was
and
good singing.
yeah, so they were good
Yeah.
at lip syncing, and they also sang some of it, did some live singing, which I
Hmm.
always am excited to hear good live singing.
Yeah.
So
So they have the singing waiters at this
mhm,
club, And I don't know if it's necessary. I'm sure there's lots of places that do this in New York City, but the
Mm-hmm.
big famous one is Ellen's Stardust Diner. And
Mm-hmm.
I just want to tell everybody, don't ever go there. It's not worth it for the singing waiters. It's the worst food I've ever had at a commercial establishment in my life.
Oh
It
my.
was absolutely terrible. Even the like vanilla ice cream was bad. Like it was unedible. Like it was absolutely terrible.
Oh, I'm
Don't go there.
sorry.
It was
Ooh,
really
well,
bad.
and my closest experience to that is in Columbia, Maryland. Like by
Uh-huh.
like the pavilion, they have this kind of like dinner theater, and like the waiters are all like in the show. So like they'll be serving you, and then they
Oh
put
yeah.
their costume, and then they go. And so I watched a Christmas. So I went there. Well, actually, I went on Thanksgiving with my aunt, and we saw the Christmas Story, like the movie from the 80s, Ralphie and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. So
Oh,
they
that's
did
fun.
that, and
Yeah.
um, and
Did they
so
have like food themed to the movie?
it was kind of like your typical like kind of Thanksgiving food. It was like a buffet style.
Oh,
Well, sort of buffet. It was like partial buffet
because
and
that movie would be so easy to do like a themed, because you could have like Chinese food, you know what I mean? And stuff
yeah,
like that. But that sounds like fun.
yeah, it
I mean,
was a lot
how
of
did
fun.
you feel about Cousin Brad? Was he a little much for you too?
Yes. But he did grow on me a little bit. Like I kind of felt like I said, that scene with his ex, kind of, let me know like he was very insecure. He had lost his job, he had lost his girlfriend, so he was kind of like maybe overcompensating and trying to appear like more you know, confident or whatever. But at the end he he redeemed himself a
Yeah.
little. But
Because
yeah,
he's trying to impress her.
right.
So he's trying to get all the information from his
Hmm.
cousin.
Hmm.
And so it was funny when he's saying
Yeah.
things like Marilyn, when he's trying to talk about Marilyn, we were along, and it's clear it's nothing. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That whole scene with the tree was
Hmm.
pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah.
And then yeah, in the senior home, they do Jolly Old St. Nicholas, Christmas song, Go Tell It on the Mountain.
Hmm.
And then he says at one point, I'm just a guy who would like to be on Wicked and more than being on the football field.
Right. When he growing up in Scranton, Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
which is not too far from where I grew up.
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, same with me. I was in Maryland.
mhm.
And what was the whole thing with this Yule log?
So she had always loved Yule logs, and that was like a tradition that her father always made her a Yule log. And so,
He makes it for her, but then
yeah,
Brad takes the credit, right?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, she's just like that. And that's when she kisses Brad.
Yes. And he gets upset,
Yeah. So,
which was
because at
fun.
this point, he has realizes that he has feelings for her. And so he
Yeah.
is just like, he's very upset. Um, and so what did you think
Which
of the scene where, she is, where she basically is saying that, there might, she realizes that Brad's a great guy, but he might not be the right guy for me. But there is somebody that might be, but I have to speak with Brad before I can pursue,
mhm.
uh, this other situation. What did you think of that?
I mean, it was pretty early, but they had gone on like multiple dates at that point because love the scene at the Nutcracker. That was hilarious.
Mhm.
Brad is like so bored.
Yeah, that he
He's like,
falls
this is
asleep.
the worst.
No, he fell asleep.
He fell asleep. That was really funny. He's telling when he was telling Alex about it, he's like, it was the most boring.
Mhm.
That was really funny. And I think in particular, when she says that, Brad had just sent her flowers.
Mhm.
So she's feeling, all the more like sensitive about it. And we
Mhm.
get up on the housetop there,
Yes.
and she says that before I pursue there's this other situation I should be honest with Brad about.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed a lot younger than her to me.
Well, I think it was just because he was immature, and
Yeah,
also
maybe that was it.
it might have been the height as well.
Yeah, that's true. Poor guy. Yeah, it might have been nice if they had given Brad a little bit of a softer place to land. Kind of had him ended up with somebody or something like that, or interested in somebody.
Yeah, I would have liked it if it had been like the neighbor. Like
Yeah, that would have been cute.
since he had
I
said,
agree.
that so because then the hero and the neighbor end up like pretending to be a couple, and then he's like, "Oh, we broke up."
Yeah, so then they do the fake dating.
Yeah.
Alex and the neighbor. Was there Stephanie? I think is her name. Or Ray.
Mhm.
And Ray ends up getting the Chicago art they both auditioned for.
Mhm.
So she's feeling like a little jealous,
Yeah.
which has got to be a thing. That's got to be hard.
Yeah.
You're happy for your friends, but I know even sometimes, like even as like a YouTuber slash podcaster, I'll have friends who get an opportunity that kind of, I wish I had that opportunity, or
Yeah.
have something hit that I was like, wow, I had something very similar. Why didn't it hit for me, or whatever?
Yeah.
Like it can be easy to go down that path if you're not careful and don't check yourself.
Yeah. I think it's perfectly fine to be like, I wish it didn't happen for me, but but also be happy that, for your friend that they got an opportunity.
Yeah. Because envy is the green monster that it will overtake your life if you're not careful.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it can be an easy temptation. I thought she looked so beautiful in that sparkly dress.
Wait, which one?
The when her dad is there.
Oh yes.
And
yes.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been a jumpsuit, but anyway, that sparkly outfit was really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And she sings "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" there, and then and she overhears. She goes outside.
Yes.
And then Brad and Alex come outside, and they like spill the whole beans. They have this argument and everything, and so she hears it, and she knows the gig is up.
Yes. And this means, and they're about to do a duet, and she like runs off stage because she's upset, and definitely felt her for being upset, but that was very unprofessional.
Yeah, it really was.
The show must go on.
Yeah, the show must go on.
So she, so she lost some points with me for that.
Yeah. Because if you're Broadway, you have to be able to perform under all situations. I mean, there were some crazy stories after during COVID of people being called that, like, particularly for Wicked, people being called who had done it like a decade before, that they got like really far down on their Rolodex for people, because everybody was just getting sick and all this stuff. And people, there was one person that had done it literally, I think, a decade before, and they called her, and she was like living in Chicago, and they're like, "Can you be here?" Which would be like wild. And I guess like once it's in your head, it's kind of always there.
Yeah, or at least it's probably not too difficult for it to come back. Especially music, I will say. It's definitely for me, like once you start here, like since I've been in choirs and things like that, there have been songs that I've not sung in years. But once you hear the music and and you kind of get the melody, and like you kind of go through a little bit, it does come back pretty quickly.
Yeah. And there's such pros that us in the audience, we usually have no idea that there's chaos happening. And so, yeah, I agree. I was kind of like, no, she probably wouldn't do that. And like, really, was the betrayal that bad? Yeah. I mean, he'd helped his cousin know a little bit about her, but it's not like I don't know. I feel like it's really not like that big a deal. It's not like they had like lied to her. She knew who they both were. It's just he'd been giving one information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they had like a false name or like false job or a false thing. It was just like,
and then she had already realized that he was the one that she liked anyway.
yeah.
So,
So maybe that's what she was kind of more upset about, was that like, oh my gosh, there's no excuse now. I really do like this guy. But then Hazel gets up and sings Jingle Bells, saves the day.
Yes.
And she was cute. I liked her.
Yeah, me too.
She was a nice character. And then her dad basically tells her as much, says that you have to look at the big picture. This too will pass. Everything will be okay. Her dad was sweet. I liked her dad.
Yeah, me too.
He was good. So Brad, his Christmas present to Alex is he's gonna move out.
Yeah.
And you really fell for this chick. It was stressful trying to act like you.
Yes.
Which I like. That was cute.
And so, which is, I think, part of why, like he, was kept saying, oh, they're really serious, like with the girl, because he knew that it was really like the cousin, like the things about the cousin that she was liking, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So you got this incredibly handsome man, and all the stuff that she had liked about Brad now are all part of this incredibly handsome package. Who could sing great. And so then there was a scene, her dad shows up with the Yule log and wearing matching jams, which was cute.
Yes.
That was cute. And so then they perform for the big Broadway guy, and they sing his original song.
Right. And the big Broadway guy loves it and wants to produce.
Yeah, his musical.
His musical, and we get to see that, a flash forward to them starring in his musical. And
a lot of musicals have like one Christmas song in it, or one or two Christmas songs, like Mame and She Loves Me, that has one in there. There's quite a few that'll have like one random Christmas song in there. So that's probably what this would be more like. But I really enjoyed this. I mean, this is like right in my wheelhouse. I mean, I feel like Nina made this for me.
Yeah, maybe she did.
I feel like she did.
Next time, ask her.
Nina and Jeff Beasley, way to go. I would give this one like a 4.5. I did think the cousin was like a little annoying sometimes, but other than that, I was totally charmed by it. It was great.
I'm gonna give it 4.25. So like I'm definitely high on it, and it's definitely for me it's my number 2 of the Christmas so far.
Oh. What's your number 1?
The 5-Year Christmas Party.
Oh, me too. Same.
Yeah,
I agree.
But this is a strong number 2. So. But
that one's also like felt like it was kind of made for me. Also about a theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all right.
I also enjoy the theater. So they, so we're
It's a good. There's just so much that you can. So many stories that you can tell about artists. I think.
Yeah.
It's a really fertile ground. I think. Especially young talent, if they're wanting to tell young stories, I think there's a lot there that they can do.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
What about holiday mismatch? This is new retiree Barb joins a holiday committee but clashes with longstanding member Kath. When they realize their kids have started dating, they conspire to break up the happy couple. Director Caroline LaBroche and writer Sarah Wise, stars Caroline Ray and Beth Broderick. And I thought this was cute.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Again, we have kind of the trope subversion because you have the meddling mothers setting up the kids, deciding, okay, and we've seen this before where kids are like, okay, let's pretend to date so to get them off our backs. But then we have the mothers realizing, okay, that these two mothers don't get along. And when they realize that their children are dating, they're like, this can't possibly work out because, they're our kids and we don't like each other. So we have to break them up. It's so,
yeah.
It's kind of another layer onto.
It's true. It's like fake dating and then like busybody matchmaker and then like subversion of they pretend to be dating in order to make their.
And then because they're pretending to be dating, now the mothers are meddling even more to break them up.
Yeah. Which is fun. This is the one that had the app, not the other that I liked the name, the Merry Matchmaker.
Well, the other one had an app, but I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
Because it was like to find something. I forgot what it was called. But
yeah, this is the good one though.
Yes.
The good name that I liked. And so we have these two moms. One says that your charisma is infectious. He's lonely, and I think it was I think it was her husband. It's like Shane is not your project,
right?
Like, no, I got to. Which I mean, for me, as a single woman, like I would be thrilled if my parents like tried to set me up with people. Like it's so hard to meet people that I always feel like in these movies when the are like, oh, don't do that, mom, I'd be like so excited because it's really hard to meet people.
It is, but as someone that's been set up, sometimes people you think people know you well enough to
it's true.
So
yeah, there's some setups that are better than other setups. Yeah. That's true. So, I did like at the beginning when they're all like offended about the ugly sweater. They're like, this is a nice sweater. Like I like
I love that. Yes, and so when Beth Broderick's character goes into the Chamber of Commerce or whatever it was, and they were planning the Christmas festival or whatever, and she's like, oh, you're all wearing your ugly sweater. She's like, and they're like, what do you mean?
I kind of felt bad for her because I felt like she kept trying to like be super nice and helpful, and she kept like just not fitting in. Which is so hard when that happens in life.
Yes.
It's just like, oh.
And so they really don't get along. But they both want to like set up their children. So she wants to set up her daughter because her daughter's always, busy working. So she has her own business. Or she has a business partner, and she's an architect. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Beth Broderick's son is so he has a theater and he's putting on productions. He's acting in production. So they're talking about the article about his charisma was from a production that he was in. But the theater is like breaking down and it's costing a lot of money. I guess his father and brother are both have a real estate for agency, and he has kind of secretly or tried to secretly look into selling the theater through his brother.
Yeah,
and at first he gets like a very, very lowball offer on the theater, and he rejects that, but then gets one that's a bit more tempting. And all the while he is fake dating Caroline Ray's daughter.
Yeah, so they get set up on the app by,
Yeah.
I forget which one sets them up on the app, but
Well,
anyway.
each of them gets set up by their brother.
Yeah, so they get set up on the app, and things go pretty well. And basically they say, like, let's just pretend to be dating. Let's fake date it, so that our moms will leave, leave us alone.
Because you can't just say, no, I don't want to be set up. You just can't do that for some reason.
Yeah. And there's lots of like fighting about, basically one of them is like a careful planner and one of them is like free spirit, as you expect, and they're fighting over where the Santa's going to be located. There's like a big brouhaha about that.
Yes.
And then so they decide, once they find out that they're dating, they think they're dating for real, the kids, they said, we're going to sabotage the couple, which was really funny.
Yes. But the thing is, their sabotaging is actually what kind of pushes the together. So like one thing is, okay, I will say one of the scenes in the sabotage scenes is when they go for the Christmas tree, and they want him to trim the tree and tie it up, and he's never done this before because he's always had a fake tree, which, I've always had fake trees. I grew up on fake trees, and nothing wrong with the fake tree. They look good. But and so for a long time, that was like derided until, Hallmark had Balsam Hill, and then they couldn't dug fake trees.
Yeah, it was seen as like a real, like, oh, low class, you have a fake tree. But I have to have a fake tree because unless I had some help, it's just too heavy. The live trees are too heavy for me to by myself.
Yeah.
I can't.
And so, but then when they could get to the house and a rat, not a mouse.
Gross. You're big. I'm like, what is going on with Hallmark? After the Mystery Lane, the rat down there, and then now this.
Yeah, so like I will say this.
Yeah.
I am not scared of a lot of like, smaller animals, small rodents, but I do not do rats. And I have been, and he handled getting that rat out much better than I would have. I would have just run out the house myself. I can be nice, but I
said a Christmas rat, gross. It's disgusting.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Oh,
I don't do rats. So.
Yeah, absolutely awful, terrible. And I thought that, like, when they had the cozy chat about the grants, that was pretty good. Yeah, I liked that.
And then when Beth Broderick convinces her son to like have her participate in the play that he's in, because Caroline Race tells her that the daughter is shy, and she kind of enjoys it. It's like, oh, and you can see that there, and when he like gets rid of the rat, she's kind of like charmed by the way that he's does that, and being like,
and then they have Christmas karaoke.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, if you're there for Christmas karaoke, what are you picking? What are you singing?
Okay. So I would either do, and things that I've sung before. I've done, the Christmas song, and also, let's see, what's the other song? Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. I'll do,
Yeah, that would Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas be up there for me. I feel like for karaoke, you usually want to do something more bubbly. So I might do like maybe Marshmallow World or something like that, like a little bubbly, or just go straight and do like Jingle Bells.
Okay. Yes,
that would be fun. Don't do something like Santa Baby. That's just tacky.
No,
don't do it. We get the guy spilling the secret about the fake dating.
Yeah. So, which is interesting because he calls his brother and tells him that they're fake dating, but then but then it's like, I'm starting to like her for real. And then so this next scene where the brother tells Beth Broderick that they're fake dating, but he doesn't tell her that he's starting to develop real feelings for her. which was weird. I don't understand why he didn't tell her the whole thing. But
And it says they fell for each other, and we're going to try to make it work anyway.
Mhm.
That they weren't expecting it, and so then you have Barbara quitting. She gets
Mhm.
frustrated,
Yes.
and so then Kath says that it's okay. You have your own way of doing something.
Hmm. And so she, they go and approach Carolyn Ray's daughter and tells her that, you know,
You
that
shouldn't break
she,
up with him.
yeah, because he is not as serious about it. But then he admits that, he is, but then also discloses that he is thinking about or planning to sell the theater.
Yeah. Well, and I liked the husband who was like, you need to fix this now. That was funny. He was cute. You need to
Mhm.
apologize.
Mhm.
Um, and then she says, it's good to be scared because it's taken me out of my comfort zone,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
hard, when you're trying to make new friends you're
Mhm.
in a new area. It's really hard.
Yeah. And like she was, like she had just retired from years of being an accountant. So she had like her routine, and everything is just different now. Um,
Yeah.
and so see that she's trying to stay busy and find things to do with her time, and like you said, make new friends and be productive, and also we also see that she was very busy growing up, and she did not and I think she carries like that kind of mom guilt about being like a working mom and not spending as much time with her children. So that also plays into why she
Yeah.
is
Kind of overprotective.
yeah, overprotective and kind of maybe trying to overcompensate for like kind of not being as present as she would have wanted to be during his childhood.
Yeah. And we get our cute at the end when they're talking about what are you, some kind of witch? That was cute.
Yes,
That
I
was
like
fun.
that. I have to
That
say they still have they still have great chemistry together.
Yeah, they do. They're
That's
fun.
right.
The downside to this movie is I did feel like the dialogue was a little bit forced and a little bit phony at times. It didn't feel like authentic. Like if this thing had been written by like Tracy Andreen, it would have like it would have been even better. Like funnier, just more natural, just better. I don't know who this writer is. Matching Hearts, which I didn't love that one either. So she hasn't done a ton. And so I that was the only thing. It's not like a deal breaker. It was pleasant, but it was just like there was just something it wasn't quite as like funny or like natural or authentic or whatever. Like it was really like these actors were really lifting this, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Okay, I can kind of see that,
Hmm.
and and so hopefully, um, this they because I think the story was interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I hope that they give this writer,
Yeah.
some more chances and they get a little bit better, or, maybe they get someone to like, doctor the script a little bit next time. Who knows?
Yeah, you can't not everything can be a snow bride right out of the gate, like it takes some practice. And I would say this was like, it was solid. That would be my only like feedback from it is that I think the dialogue could have been a little better.
Mhm.
But it was perfectly pleasant. I enjoyed it. I'd probably give this one like a 3.5, 3.75, something like that.
Yeah, I'd give it 3.7. I had 3.75
Yeah.
also.
Okay.
And I looked, and the other Hallmark movie that she's done is The Matching Hearts from 20
Yeah. Yeah. Which
with
wasn't very good. I didn't like that one myself. I like this much better
yeah,
than that. So
oh,
we're moving
yeah,
up.
oh yeah. So
We're
yeah, she
improving.
she I mean, yeah, you know what? Yes. Huge improvement.
Yeah.
Huge
It really
improvement.
is. It really
So,
is. It's a way to go.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say it was a pretty strong weekend, and I'd put all
Mhm.
three of these ahead of the Austrian movie. So
Oh, definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would like I said, I've enjoyed all of these. Well, most of them that I've seen so far this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, all very solid entries. I would watch all three of these again.
Yeah.
You know, like
So which one was your favorite?
A Carol for Two.
Yeah, same.
It's
Yeah.
definitely my
Okay.
favorite. But the other two I enjoyed as well.
Yeah.
So.
Very good. Well, let us know what you think and which was your favorite, what you think of these three movies. And we'll put a link down to the Austrian episode. Definitely want to check that out. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. You can find my theater reviews if you go to rachelsreviewstheater.com or on stage or the On Stage Blog Theater podcast. So if you are interested in my thoughts on that, you should check that out. And so check out Hallmarky's podcast all over social media, and if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That helps us so much, especially this time of the year. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We have our Patreon group, which is so much fun. And we've had Nina Weinman multiple times as a guest for our watch-alongs. And I will probably have her do Carol for Two one of these days. So you want to be a part of the Patreon. It's really fun. And we have an awesome watch-along for this month. We have Topher Payne joining us, writer Topher Payne, and we're going to watch A Gift to Remember. It's going to be so fun.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's going to be really, really good. So those are the experiences. And then next month we have Julie Sherman Wolf joining us in December. So it's going to be very fun. So you get lots of great opportunities as a member of the Patreon group. So check that out. And then we have our merch store where we have new holiday designs. We've got Home Alone. We've got Die Hard. We've got Christmas Story. All of those inspired designs. So check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Merry Christmas.